let's talk about the events of the day. Okay, so our old mate Jim Chalmers, perfect example of dissent here. The greatest treasurer of all time, the man who, most likely, whenever Anthony Albanese decides to step off the throne, and again, given the size of the victory, that is probably the way that power will transfer. He'll end up being most likely the next Prime Minister. Why? Because we like the idea of the person who balances the books as being the next one in line. And we know that this bloke has got a pretty solid opinion of himself. Fine, fair enough. Not the first politician to have an ego. But he thinks he can remake capitalism. Why? Because he told us. And after the thumping victory that now presents virtually no resistance to the government doing what it wants to do, not just in the lower but in the upper house, they are now going to try to do a whole bunch of things that maybe they did not take to the election because somebody came up with the idea at a forum after the election and we didn't have an opportunity to take it to the people. But while we're here and we've got such a massive majority, guess what? We're going to do it anyway. Now, this Economic Reform Roundtable is a reheat of the Jobs Summit, which, remember, was a reheat of the 2020 summit when Rudd won in 2007. And part of the way this works is to make it look like we're not leading, we're not telling everyone what to do. We've gathered the greatest and smartest minds here to give us ideas. We put it all up on a whiteboard and then we sit back and look at it. But a few people are starting to notice that maybe it's not as an organic process as that. Maybe, just maybe, this is all a little bit of theatre to help justify doing what they've always wanted to do, but finding a different way to do it. We know in 2019, it was Bill Shorten who went to an election with aggressive positions on taxation, rolling back what he believed to be too generous issues when it came to taxation, and of course negative gearing. Well, we all know how that went. The bloke who'd already packed up and was ready to be Prime Minister because the media had told him so, we got a rude shock from the Australian people because they said, no, not on our watch. Well, Phil Cooley, writing in the Australian Financial Review today, is among many who are starting to notice that the Productivity Summit may well just be a way of reheating what was rejected in 2019. Now, remember, in 2019, negative gearing was on the table about getting rid of it for anything but somebody who was going to buy a new home into the future. If you had it, you'd hold it until the house that you currently had was sold, but it wouldn't be able to be handed down generation to generation or transferred between husband and wife upon death. This is what Jim Chalmers said in the past about the need to get rid of the negative gearing system as it works now.
Any housing policy that doesn't deal with negative gearing and capital gains tax is a sham. Housing affordability, which doesn't make important and considered changes to capital gains and negative gearing, has a hole in the middle of it. If you want to deal with housing affordability, you need to start with negative gearing and capital gains.